Everybody's lying about Yasuke, and it kind of is a strange thing to see a bunch of news organizations get together and confirm a story that Yasuke is a real samurai after a professor of health and sciences in Japan confirms it himself by saying that there's no record saying that he wasn't a samurai. That is his best speculation, and I think this is the situation I've been confused about because everyone is trying so hard to rewrite Japanese history. And I think this desperation where you have this guy being pushed out there, the historian, a professor saying there's nothing saying he wasn't a samurai, but there's nothing saying he is a samurai as well. It's just speculation. It's just we can say that as a possibility. He was given money by Oda Nobunaga, but so was the janitor, so was the merchant, so was a bunch of people were given money in the house. So it's just this desperate attempt to cling on to the rewriting of history is crazy that I'm seeing within American society itself, where they're trying to change Japanese history to fit an overall perspective that is completely different from what Japanese people see themselves. And the Japanese people that are historians are saying the exact opposite. I'm talking about Nihon University that is erasing the associate professor that came up with this theory that Yasuke was a samurai, that made a bunch of fabrications in his own books. His class is being shut down. He's being removed from the docket of Nihon University. His class is not being taught anymore. The people that believe in history are removing him, but the people that are not even professors in history are championing him. And I think that is a situation that we're going to see develop throughout this process of people trying to desperately hold on to this fabrication. And I think it is a fabrication to say he was something so much greater than he is. And I have no problem if they just said it was a fantasy. I think that would be fine. I wouldn't complain. I'll be like, okay, what's this gameplay about? Let's see what this game is going to be really about. I'll still be annoyed that they didn't include a Japanese character, that they have all these Japanese characteristics in the game mismatched with Chinese characteristics and architecture. I'll be annoyed by that. It just shows that they have no respect for the Japanese culture itself, and I think that is the thing people are mostly mad about in general. But it's just this clinging on to Yasuke, trying to rewrite history to fit this narrative, is something that I find interesting in a lot of parts, because it's not black people doing this. It's random white people in Japan. It's random white people on Twitter, and I see some black people on Twitter saying, yeah, this is all the racist stuff, but these are the 10 gentle people that are not even pushing this narrative. They're just being brought in to be a defensive force for these historians that are trying to rewrite Japanese history in a perspective that a lot of people in Japan are slavers, black slavers, where they're pro-black slavery, where they had a giant market of black slaves. And this seems to be the theory that has been developed from Thomas Lockley and a lot of historians that are trying to push this ideology with no evidence actually being there. And I think that is the situation. People are having major qualms with this adaptation in Ubisoft, where they are trying to rewrite history into this perspective. And what is this perspective exactly? According to Thomas Lockley himself, he sees things through a Marxist historical perspective, where you do not need empirical evidence to reach a conclusion, where you do not need historical evidence to actually come up with a historical perspective. And this is a Marxist approach to history, where empirical evidence doesn't need to be the guideline. It just needs to be the theory and the foundation of what philosophy you want to impose on the people through historical records. And I think this is the problem people are having with Ubisoft itself, and this is the problem Japan is having with Ubisoft and its rewriting of their history to fit this Marxist historical evidence, where they're just making things up so they can focus a philosophy that they want to have in center of a topic that they want to discuss or change within the culture. And I think that's the thing that we're seeing happening through historical records, a rewriting of Japanese history and culture being done right in the face of the Japanese people through entertainment properties. This is something we saw in the West as well, where entertainment properties became historical fact. And I think that's the thing that's developing as we speak, because we're seeing historical property be influenced by entertainment properties, be influenced by these kind of invaders that are in the university structure in Japan, rewriting history. And I'm a person, I don't really care what happened with Yasuke and his past. I think it's just whatever. If they just said it was fantasy, I wouldn't care about this topic as much. But to see the lengths and struggle that these people are going to rewrite another culture's history, to accuse them of being racist slavers of Africans for some reason, that seems to be the focus for a lot of these people, Thomas Lockley and some of the other historians, is to make this perspective of making these people into a villain of some sorts, where they can make a victim. And it seems like that is at the core of modern day Marxist ideology, where you're trying to make victims and use that victimization as a weapon. And I think the weapon is to be used against the Japanese people, to put them in a position where they have to be open to certain perspectives and cultural sensitivities now, since they are the oppressor class. And I think that's a situation, especially for a monoculture like Japan, where there is no other cultures. A victim is hard to come by. But I think if you make a victim through the rewriting of history, you can make an oppressor. And I think that's the situation people want to do to Japan now, which is kind of weird, because Japan has always been the oppressor historically, at least when it comes to other Asian cultures. But I don't think they care about those other cultures, those other Asian cultures. They want to make a Western version of oppression that is more amendable to their aims. And I think including this African oppression angle may be some sort of viable opportunity for the Western world to carry more influence within Japan. But who knows why these people are doing these things? I'm just coming up with speculation, just like they're coming up with speculation that Yasuke was a samurai. But I just think it's just all weird that this is happening in this way, because this is just a video game. Why are they trying to rewrite history itself? Why are they bringing out a bunch of voices in support of this? It's just not this professor of science. They're bringing on other historians to back Thomas Lockley, saying, hey, there's nothing saying that he wasn't a samurai, and that is their best proof. And I don't think that's any proof at all. You have another person coming out and associate with Thomas Lockley that came out in support, saying he was right in some sort of ways, not even coming up with conclusive proof, just saying, hey, there's a possibility he was. There's nothing saying he wasn't. And you have another Japanese professor that's married to this other professor coming out in support. And they're all friends. And it's just pointing out this close-knit circle that is trying to invade Japanese culture and rewrite history in its own likeness. And I think that's the situation a lot of people are growing frustrated with. Ultimately, this is a bad thing for everyone that enjoys Japanese culture. You have people out there trying to change it. It's not a good thing for the people that actually love what is there already. But you tell me what you think about the situation. Why is everybody lying about Yasuke? I still don't have the answer. I came up with somewhat an answer, but I'd like to hear your thoughts. Why is everyone so gung-ho about lying about this guy, trying to rewrite history for him? And it's just a strange occurrence, but maybe it's not so strange and happens more often than we think. But you leave a comment, tell me what you think. Like, comment, share, subscribe. This is Wagner Knows Why. Catch you next time.